And now speaking for the motion, we have the Labour MP Dennis McShane, who was the Foreign Office Minister until 2005, one of the few British politicians who can speak French and German fluently, which came in handy because he was the Minister for Europe. Dennis McShane, welcome.
President Obama in his inauguration speech told America, and I quote, "Our nation is at war against a far-reaching network of violence and hatred." And if you take Amtrak or the short plane flight from Washington to New York, you can enter the UN and listen to those who do preach hatred and do justify violence. Now, to speak against the UN is like speaking against the Catholic Church at the beginning of the 16th century. Like the cardinals of the Catholic Church, the defenders of the UN are thick on the ground, and it produces its own college of cardinals, their own Jesuits, who fan out across the world to defend their church. We've had three of them tonight: a peer of the High Parliament of Britain, who'll speak next, a Knight of the Realm, and of course a high functionary of the UN, now retired. Well, these new cardinals, these new high priests of the UN, are ready to tell you that their church and faith must not be questioned. I am here tonight in London to say that the UN, alas, may be the 21st century emperor, far more naked than we realise it. So ignore the beguiling words, the fluency of UN speak. Instead, look at what we might try and do modestly, to say that democracy is important. What is democracy? People say, oh, it can't be defined. I mean, this country and that country shouldn't be involved in it. No, ladies and gentlemen, in the 21st century, let us hear more about democracy, more about rule of law, more about the rights of women, more about the rights of people to express their sexuality, more about the rights of law and order, and more about the right of freedom of expression. I am not against the UN. I'm not against ambassadors being there. I'm certainly not against its agencies. We're talking about that failure to provide peace, that failure to respect human rights, that failure to promote democracy. But I invite you tonight to send out a signal that, yes, we can build a different world order, and the UN, alas, as constituted, as functioning, is a hindrance to the idea that, yes, we can promote democracy around the world. Thank you very much.
Dennis McShane there for the motion. Well, he has certainly thrown down the gauntlet to our last speaker, Mark Malloch-Brown, Lord Malloch-Brown, who was Deputy Secretary-General under Kofi Annan, so knows the UN very well. He's currently the Foreign Office Minister with special responsibility for Africa, Asia and the United Nations, and he attends British Cabinet.
In the flyer for this debate, the UN is paralysed, we need something else. We need an organisation of democracies, was a wonderful sort of language about, look what an awful job they've made in the Congo, 17,000 troops and there's fighting going on all around. Well, I thought that wasn't a bad place to start, actually, because in the Kivus, where we at the end of last year saw these terrible scenes of fighting between different militias and the huge surge of refugees, the UN did move most of its 17,000 troops that are in the Congo. But who are those 17,000 troops? They are troops from all over the world who've come together in a country the size of Western Europe. And they were sent there initially to observe what was going on, report violations, and then the National Army of the Congo failed, so they were tasked to go ahead and try and stop fighting between different groups. And ultimately, they found themselves on 4 or 5 front lines across this complicated, failing state, trying to protect the results of the verdict of the people of the Congo, delivered in an extraordinary nationwide exercise in democracy, supported and carried out by the United Nations with the backing of Britain and other governments. But that really is